Welcome back to Half Haunted. This is episode 2 of Missouri State Penitentiary.
Yay.
I'm with my co-host, Raji Clark. How are you this fine evening?
Hello, I'm good, and you?
I'm fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I went to go see, I went on a ghost tour of the Missouri State Penitentiary on Saturday. And yeah, how was an experience?
Was it fun though?
It was fun.
I mean, if you want to call that fun, but was it fun?
To me, it was fun. I mean, there was like 34 people on this tour. It was the first one of the season because they go from March through November is when they do tours.
So them ghostesses and stuff are waiting for you all to show up.
Yeah, they haven't seen people in a while, except for the people that work there. But yeah,
that ain't the same.
No, not at all. But it was wild, that's for sure. But I'll get into it. So a little bit of background on Missouri State Penitentiary.
Yes.
It was construction began in 1834, and the first inmate was received in 1836. His name was Wilson Edison. The penitentiary is located in the capital city of Jefferson City, Missouri, so it's the state capital too.
Mm-hmm.
It's at least 100 close to 100 years older than Alcatraz. So yeah, it's wild how old this penitentiary is, and the inmates actually built the penitentiary. Yep. And then so there was a couple of famous inmates. One was James Earl Ray. As we all know, he's the idiot that assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968.
Yeah.
And what happened with that fool is he was a petty thief or whatever, and he escaped through a bread truck in 1967. And then he got into politics, and then almost a year to the date after he escaped, he killed Martin Luther King Jr.
He escaped, not escaped, but
he escaped
from the penitentiary in a bread truck, and he went into politics.
Yeah, he dabbled.
Is that
in
what
politics. Yeah.
I'm not. They just letting anybody in.
Yeah, exactly.
And we already know.
Yeah, so I don't even know. Who cares when he died? I don't care, to be honest.
Right.
I don't know, but whatever. Yeah. That's my own opinion, people. That's just my own opinion. No hate, whatever. But anyway, the next one is Charles Arthur Pretty Boy Floyd. He's actually quite handsome for being back in the 20s. But anyway, he was robbery in 1925. He was released in 1929. They deemed him the most dangerous man alive in 1933. And in I don't know exactly when he died, but he was shot dead by the police after fleeing in a farm. I don't know the exact details, but he was gunned down by police from trying to flee. Yeah, petty robbery, what? Doesn't make no sense to me. Anyway, Charles Sonny Liston.
Well, they didn't have tasers back then. But go on. Yeah.
Nope.
I like a good zapping. I mean, not for myself. Cracks me up when people get zapped on YouTube. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Side note, when my dad almost tased himself, that was funny, but whatever.
Oh, I wasn't there that day, but I remember you telling me about it. He doesn't need any more help.
Whatever.
Rest in peace, homie.
Yeah. So Charles Sonny Liston, in 1950, 2 charges of robbery with a deadly weapon. Hold on. I've had a hard Monday, folks. But okay, let me rewind. In 1950, he was charged with 2 charges of robbery with a deadly weapon and 2 charges of larceny. He learned to box in prison, and he was pretty darn good at it. So a publisher from a St. Louis newspaper got him out on parole so he could box. Well, he ended up winning the heavyweight championship in Chicago in 1953.
Wow.
And there's a picture of him. I saw his cell when we went into the A-Hall building 4.
Yeah.
That's where he was housed, and I got to see where he was, where his jail cell was, which is kind of dingy, but I'm going to explain what happened with that one.
Oh, okay.
That's creepy. Let's see here. So they have the gas chamber.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me go back to that A-Hall. So I want to talk about A-Hall a little bit. All I'm going to tell you right now, it smelled like ass and corn chips. It was bad. It was really, the stench was bad.
They don't crack a window in that bitch. I mean, in that place.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. I've had a hard Monday, so forgive me, listeners.
I forgive
Shit
you.
happens on Mondays. Sorry, folks.
Yeah. Monday.
Just another manic Monday.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay, so executions they had executions, the gas chamber, right?
Yeah.
So, the prison was 1836. So they hung people up until around 1937. And that's when they switched over to the gas chamber.
Where in hell they hanging people at? Was there a tree I didn't see on Google Images or something?
I don't know. They really didn't say, but that. Okay. Yeah,
I mean, no. Like I need to know about hangings, but anyway.
It was public hanging, I guess, before that. So
that's not my cup of tea.
No. No.
But I'm down for a good zapping.
Yeah, me too.
Taser USA. Scottsdale.
You get a tase.
Yes. Everybody gets a tase.
Order to enter this prison, you have to be tased.
Woo!
Yeah, good times. Yes. It was 40 people were put to death. 39 of them were gas chamber, and the one was lethal injection. So I'll talk about the people that were on death row. The first one was, his name was William Wright. He was 33, and he was executed March 4th, 1938. His crime, was convicted of killing Dr. J.T. McCampbell and a Negro druggist in a robbery on March 15th, 1933 in Kansas City, Missouri. Noted details, pellets were released. I guess they have cyanide pellets in there. It was pretty neat. I got to sit in the gas chamber chair and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But anyway,
did you take a selfie?
And well, no, because there was a bunch of people in there, but I sat in it really fast. Okay. It was Pellets were released at 6:21 a.m. and he was pronounced dead between 6:25 and 6:26. So I don't know how they but it was 6:25 and 30 seconds. That doesn't make sense.
Right?
And the last meal, he didn't request anything for his last meal.
Oh.
Now, the last one was, they switched over to lethal injection on the last one. So this guy's name is George C. Tiny Mercer. He was 44 years old, and he was executed January 6, 1989. So before he was executed in 89, in 65, they stopped doing executions until this guy. Because they took away executions. And then they started doing it back up in 1989. So this guy's crime, he was convicted of raping and murdering a 22-year-old named Karen Keaton of Belton, Missouri. At the time of the murder, Mercer had a charge against him of raping a 17-year-old girl.
Disgusting.
Yeah. He doesn't look that great anyway, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's a shitty-ass crime. It's so wrong. So Tiny Mercer became the first person, like I said, was executed since 1965. Carried out by lethal injection, and there's no last meal that he requested. From what I heard, he didn't give a shit when he was walking into the gas chamber. I've heard stories that he said something. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it wasn't pleasant. He said, "Let's do this." And they killed him. And the two, probably the most two famous ones, it was, I think they were boyfriend and girlfriend, Bonnie Brown Heady and Carl Austin Hall. So these idiots were convicted of kidnapping and murder of Bobby Greenlease. Heady and Carl demanded $600,000 in ransom at the time. At the time, it was the largest ransom in the history of the nation, which was paid. These guys got $600K in 1953.
Killing a 6-year-old.
Yeah, they, unknown to the family, the Heady, the Lady Bonnie and Carl, the murderers, had already killed and buried Bobby soon after the abduction.
In her backyard.
Yep. The judge noted details. The judge who sentenced Heady and Hall called it the most cold-blooded, brutal murder he had ever tried. They were executed side by side. Heady was the only woman to be executed in the gas chamber, and no Mills were mentioned. But they were the fastest people that were executed, 81 days. They got arrested, and 81 days later, they were executed.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, Jesus, that's a little wild there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I want to talk about paranormal stuff because I went to visit, the penitentiary on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And that gas chamber is very, I don't know, like dreadful. Because when you
of course.
it's like you go down a hill and there's this huge cross right in front of it. And there's two doors. The door on the left goes to the viewing area and the door on the right goes to the gas chamber. And I went on both sides and I looked in and it was weird and creepy. And then I sat quickly on the chair. It just felt really dreadful. Like, I mean, the people that were murdered or were executed did bad things, but it's a human, you know what I mean? A human being that died. Somebody died there, so it was weird. I just got out real quick. I'm like, I'm done. It was the end of the tour, so I was done. But words can't express how dreadful it was. I tried to get holy water to go when I first went, but I couldn't find holy water. But I said some prayers, I don't know if people believe in that, but I said some prayers to protect myself because I didn't want to have anything come home with me or anything like that, right?
Right.
So we sign in, and then the lady, very nice tour guide. She was featured on an episode of Ghost Hunters as a tour guide. They were interviewing her, so she was really nice. Very informative. So the very first thing we went to was she took us down this long hallway up like 3 flights of stairs to the women's ward section. I was just freaking freezing in there. So people were taking pictures and whatever, but it wasn't bad there. It's a lot of steps. So if you weren't in shape, man, yeah, you were by the time you left there because it's always stairs. There's always like 4 or 5 levels. So it
wasn't even handicap accessible for those who would like to do the tour.
You can use a walker and no, it's not. No, you can't even get a wheelchair in there. You can use your walker and your cane.
Yeah.
I mean, the tour, the only really steps I had to take were the first part of it when we went to the women's, which wasn't bad. And then we went down the stairs. And that was a cool experience. It's just kind of how they lived like that. It's kind of weird. But and then so we walked out of the building, walked to A Hall, which is building 4. They call it A Hall. And that building is a cool looking building. But that I knew I walked right through this doorway and I knew it felt like tons of eyes were watching you. Like, oh, they have arrived, that type of weirdness. So she had us all sit down and we're on the bottom of it. And then the Sunny Listen cell was right to my right. I was sitting in the middle. There was folding chairs, and yes, they were.
Yeah, okay.
They were fat friendly, so they weren't plastic. So I had a chance. Right? Imagine this if I was on a ghost tour. You hear, "Oh, it's paranormal." I said, "No, bitch, it's just me."
Yeah. They're here.
Oh my God, they're here. They're coming to get me. Ah.
That's right. Yeah.
But they were talking, and they said, if you want to go to this thing was like 4 levels high. Well, you guys can go to the 2nd level if you want. I said, nope, I'm good. I climbed enough stairs already. I could see it from here. So I was taking pictures, and then it was just weird. The smell when you walked in, it was cold, and the smell smelled like BO, corn chips, and musk or whatever, mist.
Like that dry dirt smell. Like
it was bad. It's like you will not forget the smell.
It's like, no, you wouldn't. But it's like thrift store,
Goodwill.
It doesn't matter.
Grandma's drawer, mothball. Oh my God!
I'm gonna have to bust out my inhaler.
Yeah, you better have it on
start
hand.
wheezing.
Yep.
But all thrift stores smell the same. I don't care what state, country you're in. Every thrift store I've ever been in has smelled the same.
Well, mix that with BO, and there's your.
That will burn your nose hairs.
Yeah, I was having trouble. I was like, oh my God. But so she was talking, and then further down the little hallway there, or the corridor or whatever, there was the dungeon part where you even went down more stairs. And it was pitch black, right? And the stairs were not that friendly. And I walked up close, was going to go down. They're like, you can stay up here if you want, whatever. You be by yourself, though. Boo. I was trying to step down, and I said, nope. No, thank you. I did not go down to that dungeon. There was something down there that I did not want any part of. So I walked all the way back to where I was sitting. There was a police officer that I guess goes with all the tours to make sure people are kept in line. And he was sitting halfway down the hallway, and I was at the very end where I was sitting prior to, going down there. And I'm sitting there, right? Quiet as hell. You can barely hear them talk in the background, like down in the dungeon.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, man, like it's quiet, and you just feel like people are staring at you. And all of a sudden, to my right, I heard someone, like a foot shuffle, like someone was like walking, like a footstep. And I'm like, click, click. I had the light. I was like, I don't see anybody, but I know I heard it. It made me turn my head and click my flashlight. Nobody's in there except for me and the officer, literally. There's nobody else. Everybody's down in the dungeon. I'm not moving because, it's a metal chair, and I don't want to take any risks, even though it's a metal chair, and I'm not moving. And I click, and I'm like, oh my God. And then the light, they have lights on one row to give them some light in there. And one of the lights kept going on and off. I said, oh my God, hurry up.
Right.
I'm sitting here, and like 10 minutes later, they come back up. I'm like, I heard a footstep, and the light was going on and off. And meanwhile, the officer is taking a cat nap up there. And I'm by myself. But so we got out of there finally, thank God. We got out of there, then we walk across this other building, and that's where Death Row was. Oh. And there was steps down to Death Row, and then I guess underneath that is the criminally insane portion of it. Oh. They were going to go down there, and I was like, okay, these steps aren't as bad. And so I was like, let me go down there. And then something hit me, and I was like, I'm by myself. I'm good. I'm going to just stay up here with the police officer again. I wasn't scared, people. I'm not scared, but when you have a feeling of dread and you just have that weird feeling, you trust your gut and just go away. It's not worth whatever might come. You know what I mean? So I just stayed up with exactly. So I stayed up with the cop, and me, I'm asking questions. So how long have you been a police officer? A year. He's like, I just keep my head down, and they pay me good money for this. I keep my head down. But then he goes on to tell me that him and his mom did the ghost tour, or like the ghost hunt for a couple hours. And he said, yeah, down there, he'll never go down there, he said. there's some weird stuff that happened. He heard like a growl and some weird stuff. So, and then after that, they're like, oh, did anybody get dropped off and whatever? And I'm like, well, I got dropped off because my tour guide didn't want to come with, well, he's a personal tour guide. He didn't want to come with me, so he dropped me off. So I said, I am not walking a block to go down to this gas chamber. So they had one of the tour guides drive me down because it's kind of down the hill. It's kind of.
So, wait, the gas chamber is farther away than the buildings. It's in the back part, right?
Yeah, so what you can't see from like Google Maps and Google Earth.
I should have had you do this is where am I? So when it locates, I can kind of like, oh, you can't see it?
Well, no, not from where, not necessarily. I didn't see it. It was at night, but where Death Row is, it's just right behind that. But it's down there's like a little hill. It's not like level. You have to it's a good distance, walking distance. It's a huge 47 acres.
See, so and with the new government buildings, what are they building? Did they sell some of the property or anything? Because it's very hard to do a satellite view of things, and you're looking at like the state office, or there's new buildings around it. And I know it's 47 acres of death, but the fact of the matter is, even as an aerial view, if people wanted to look it up, and you can go, this is here, this is the front of the building, this is behind, this is hall A or whatever. I got confused. I was a little lost.
Yeah, the picture I took of where you enter for the tour, I think I posted a picture on the website or something. I'll post one if I didn't post one, but I'll post one. You go through that building, and then when you go on the other side of that building, right to your left is that A Hall building, or building 4, which is where the dungeon was. And then when you go a little bit to your north, because when you go in to where you go get your tour or whatever, so you're facing east. So when you go through there and you get out on the other side of the building there, and you're in the courtyard of the prison, just to the little left is building A, and then right next to that a little ways is this other dilapidated building. I forget the
red
name
building.
of it. It's a red one. It looks like it's all beat up,
really old, and it's long.
Yeah, they're gonna tear that down. The tour guide said.
Okay.
So that's gonna be cleared off, and then the only buildings that we were into are the only ones that are left. Everything's been torn down.
Yeah.
There used to be, like, for the prisoners back in the day, where the gas chamber is, there's a whole huge parking lot where state vehicles park. But under that used to be a pool for the prisoners. They had mini golf, roller skating.
What?
Yeah.
So probably that's why a lot of people that have done just, like I've heard, was it the Ghost Adventurers and the Ghost Hunter people basically said it just feels sad in here. Yeah, that was the word they used a lot.
That's true. I felt the same, actually, because you just feel sad. And it's taken me right even now. I got home last night about 3:00, and I was so tired. Like, I totally felt mentally and emotionally drained. I'm empathic, I guess. Well, that's what you call it. So I feel everything. And when I say I felt dread and sadness and sorrow, it's 1,000 times for me. So it's even today I was struggling. I'm on the struggle bus today.
Heavy.
It's very heavy, and I got a headache, and I'm just trying to re-energize myself. So yeah, but a little fun fact, the person, one of the ghost shows, said there was 2,000 people buried underneath that parking lot that were still there. It's not true. So what happened is there was a graveyard cemetery, and they did relocate all those people somewhere else. Okay. And that's what happened.
So the gas chamber is right next to that parking lot.
Yes, you park right there and walk right
boom,
down.
you're looking at it. Mm-hmm. So it's closer to Chestnut Street.
Yes, you go.
Aha. Okay.
Yep. There's Lafayette where you enter the tour, and then there's Chestnut where you go in the back.
Yes.
Before they used to let the tour people just walk, but it's really far and it can be dangerous at night. So now if you drove your car to the tour, then you could take your car and park back there while you go look at the gas chamber, and then you can leave from there. So yeah, so that was crazy with the A-Hall and the gas chamber. To me, the A-Hall building with the dungeon and the gas chamber were the worst for me mentally and emotionally.
Okay, and the A-Hall is the building right in the back of the main building, and it's closest to the Missouri River and the train tracks, right?
Yeah, it's a nice...
the Missouri River.
It's Missouri. It's the nice looking building. That's the one.
Okay, it's like it's a shorter building, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm keeping up. Yeah, doing area views over here so I can understand. Yeah.
So some of the other reports besides my own and A-Hall building or building 4, being touched by ghostly hands, overwhelming smell of body odor, check. An apparition of a man on the catwalk and movements, in the darkness, and disembodied voices, and then people breathing down their neck. Yeah, I could totally see that's happening. So, and then cell block 48, that was I believe the guy was in the death row, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, he was bludgeoned to death with a sledgehammer in a prison riot. So they've been reported strange and heavy feelings and unearthly human figure caught on camera. So fun fact about A-Hall is that building was never touched during any of the riots, because from what I was told, most of the Black people were in that building, the A-Hall, and they didn't want no part of that. No part of any type of riot, so they locked that down. They wouldn't let them in that building to get into. They didn't want to go out. They didn't want to leave.
There was a fire during this time, right?
Maybe, yes, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they didn't want to fuck with that 1954 riot. They're like, you're not messing me. I'm not getting in trouble, because it was different back in the day. You know what I mean?
My people been in enough riots. I hear you, though.
Yeah, but it was really pristine, and the jail was back in the day, it was super pristine. Floors were clean, immaculate. And now it looks crazy like it does with the peeling of the paint. I found out what that was for. So what they did after it was decommissioned, they came in and they removed all the lead paint. So that's why you have all the paint peeling and stuff. So they removed all the lead out of it.
I wonder how you do that.
I don't know. That's what they told me.
It's gross and creepy.
Yeah. I was like, okay. Near the control room, there was an entity that was his lurker, whatever he spotted being weird in a lab white coat, a white lab coat, Jesus, carrying a clipboard. I can't even talk today, man. Like, I'm telling you,
Monday is almost over.
I need a drink. I definitely need a drink.
So do I. What are we drinking?
We're gonna.
What are we drinking?
Patron.
What are we drinking?
No, not Patron. It's blackberry, Crown Royal, and rum chata. It tastes like a blackberry cobbler.
I'm gonna have to try that.
It's really good, and it's hard to find too. We got the only 2 bottles left in Quincy the other day. So
blackberry, okay,
okay, really good. The female wing, there's ghostly figures seen in a vintage clothing, a prisoner leaning against the fence, cigarette smoke. Luckily, I didn't smell any of that. Thank God.
Wow.
Just BO. But the episode, the Missouri State Penitentiary, the episodes, it's been on a few TV shows. The ones I actually recommend are Ghost Hunters. Season 7, episode 21, and then I guess it's season 15 too. Later on, like 10 years later, they went back And it's the episode is called Bloodiest 47 Acres Redo. And so I forgot which episode that was, but it's on there twice on Ghost Hunters. I'd recommend those guys watching that if you want to know more about the paranormal, what they caught, because they have more information as well. A lot of the stuff goes along with the tour guides say too. So if you watch any of these shows, you can be able to tell what happened and stuff. So, but a fun fact, I'm going to switch gears for a little bit and head over to Hobo Hill House.
Across the street.
Well, I thought it was across the street. I was so excited to see it, but it's a couple blocks from the prison.
Which is not too far away because you can still see it in the distance.
No, it's not far at all. Their blocks are way small. So their blocks, there's 6 blocks. It's probably like a block and a half for our big city folks like us.
Right.
So the Hobo Hill House was featured on Dead Files, season 11, episode 4. That's a really good show to watch too. It's very informative and it's really good. So this house was built. See, it's a 5,000 square foot house. It's 2 stories. It was built in 1910 in the historic district, and it's a couple of blocks, like I said, south of the prison. The house has been featured on Dead Files, as I said earlier. Adolf and Beulah Brandenburger built the house at 500 East Miller Street. They lived there until 1922, and then since then, the Missouri or Jefferson City residents have owned the home. Different people have owned the home. So in 2017, Aaron, husband and wife, Clark, bought the house and then restored it. And they even got a award for restoring the historic house. So this prize of a house, those people only lasted like 7 months in this house. So like the kitchen sink, stuff in the kitchen sink would be weird. TV, lights, space heaters turning on by themselves. But the worst of it was terrifying moments involved the child. She was happy-go-lucky, and then all of a sudden she had night terrors, sleepwalking. The husband, the father, said that it seems as if she was possessed. Like she would be really wide-eyed and like shaking her head to the side. And then I guess her mom was giving her a bath one night, and she said, "What if I just throw my baby brother out the window?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, we don't talk like that here." And then I guess she snapped out of it. And "Mommy, I would never say that. I would never do that." It was really weird. Of course, the dog wouldn't go into certain areas of the home, such as the stairs. Continuous noises throughout the house, loud bumps, creaks. People, when the family would get home, someone would say hello to them. Nobody's there. It's just really weird. So it's an interesting episode. I suggest watching it because I didn't know about it until I watched it. And then, fun fact, the family doesn't live there anymore. They will never go back there, but they still own it. But it's now currently can rent it out as an Airbnb for $325 a night.
Hell, no.
Yeah, no.
Not for that price, no.
No. If you had like a group, because it's a 5-bedroom, I mean, it's a huge house. If you had a group of people that were willing to do that, then maybe. Yeah. But not by yourself.
You've paid that house off so many times over. No. And if you're afraid to sell your house because you're afraid of what it might do to the other people, I would sell the house. I wouldn't care. I'm just going to let you know. This place is haunted because there's many people in this world that are into that sort of thing. They'll take care of business. But lucky for them, they kept it. It is a beautiful house. Beautiful property. But I'm not holding on to that.
In Jefferson City, there's a lot of hills, so it's like almost reminds me of San Francisco a little bit, but not as. I don't know that it's on the top of like a hill.
Which means they have a nice view.
You do.
You look out the front window up top, and you're looking at the penitentiary down the road. But Yep.
Pretty where if you live 2-story or higher, you could probably see the whole city. It's a beautiful city. Lots to do there. So I don't know, but if you're gonna go, I'd recommend. It was on my bucket list to see this, so I finally got to see it. and feel it. And I'll go again, but I'm going to go again with a private tour. Like I have my own private tour guide, and I'm going to bring a chair because I can bring a chair because it's a lot of walking. And so if you're not physically fit or whatever, or you haven't walked a lot, there's very little.
You got asthma like me.
But people are friendly though, so if you need help, you don't have to go downstairs or upstairs. You could wait. But I made it. I didn't huff and puff. I didn't fall down the stairs. Thank God. That would have been a scene. But
that's great.
Whether you believe or not, it is cool to see because there is a lot of history there. And there's a lot of paranormal. So it's a paranormal person's dream to go there. I mean, you'll get something there. That's for sure. For sure.
Wow.
But I couldn't deal with the ass and corn chips. A-Hall, no. I think I might just skip that one next time. Because it just was horrible. These people were in the dungeon 17 years. They were in there, went blind, went crazy. Out 2 weeks, they couldn't handle it. They died. It banged their head against the wall. So they died. It's just, how are you going to put somebody in a hole like that for 17 years with no light? And you're pissing and shitting all over yourself in there? That's horrible. And
that's just like that is all the smells combined. That's old and stale now that you smell. I know it's sad and nasty to say. Well, it's like people here in the desert. It's like, oh, after the rain, the desert smells amazing. Nah, bitches, y'all are smelling bug and coyote piss, okay? It's got to rain a good week and a half straight if you want to smell nature.
That's going to be a good
nature in a way, but that's not the nature I want to be sniffing. So it's just old remnants of, it's interesting. It's morbid, but it's interesting to see something like this. I myself, I will look at something from the outside of things like that because I know how horrible and sad and dreadful it is on the inside. And then, just like Scared Straight, you take people there, those teenagers, when they act silly, I'm like, how would you like to live in the bathroom? In a cell, the normal bathroom is decent. It's okay. But to be that as your permanent living space, and you're getting told when to eat, when to shower, and go to sleep, you will not be happy.
Yeah, it was weird. They had some cells were open and some were closed, and they told us at the beginning of the tour, I forgot to add this, that the place had over 900 keys at one time, and there's only 4. What? They only have 4. So they said if something's open, you leave it open. If it's closed, don't try opening it. Don't mess with the doors at all, because if you lock yourself in there, you're going to be in there for a while.
Yeah.
Because they got to get you out, and they only have 4 keys, and there was 900 at one point.
And they may charge you for it, too.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to stay. I had a chance to go in one of the cells, and I'm like,
I'm staying near folding chairs.
Exactly. I'm like, folding chairs looking mighty fine right now. I'm like, I'm willing to take the risk. I know I'm a big girl, but I'm willing to take the risk, guys.
You got that right.
I mean, you can go on ghost tours, overnight tours. Basically, they tell you where you can go, where you can't go. And then they let you go for like 8 hours. I said, how much does that cost? She said, about $120. I was like, that's not bad if you had a group of people. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that by myself, being there by myself at all. No. That's a no-no in the paranormal world. You go in twos because you never know what's going to happen. But anyway, that's that. Did you have any questions or anything? Because I could try to answer them. Any thoughts? What do you feel? Would you ever go? Would you go with me if you came to visit?
On a sunny damn day, yeah.
Well, yeah. Not when it's sweaty in the
We're
summertime.
Bringing a chair.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure I got my asthma meds with me.
Look, I bought a folding chair just for that purpose.
And we're drinking afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, because that is a lot of energy, and we need to release it with alcohol.
Yeah.
Or edibles, one of the two. Maybe
I'll do both for $200, Alex.
Right. We need to cleanse after that.
Yeah, you really, I highly recommend that.
It's good.
It's crazy. But so it was a great thing. I truly enjoyed my visit, even though, it was a little rough at some parts of it. But you should try going there. You can go to Missouri State Penitentiary Tours online, and you can buy their tickets and all that and see what you want. You can also do history tours without paranormal, so they have everything.
And that's the website that also tells you about the 40 people who were put to death and what they decided to eat or not eat, right?
Yeah, it's let me see. It's Missouri Penn Missouri Penn PEN tours.com. And then you can view all the tours they have and the history.
Did you go to the museum?
No, because they sold the ticket and the museum closed at 3 and my tour was at 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
But I did go into the gift shop. They have sweatshirts, these cool postcards with all the people that have been executed. Mm-hmm. I'm sending you those for your people that you can send to. And then I bought a pen and some other cool stuff. I bought a red light so you could see in the dark because it won't affect your eyes that bad. The red's better, I guess. Mm-hmm. So
kind of like a photography room.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had no problem seeing with that. And then the Hobo House, you can just Google Hobo Hill House of Jefferson City, Missouri, and then it can
give your money for Airbnb.
Yeah. Yeah. So a little bit. So you can find us on Apple and Spotify. Please rate, subscribe, review us. We really appreciate it. We love feedback too. Yes. Our Facebook group is Half Haunted. I'm on Instagram, half_haunted. Yeah. YouTube. In the future, we're going to have a video podcasting. So some of our episodes will be on YouTube. Yes. Probably in the next 6 months or so. And then our email is halfhauntedpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any stories or anything you'd like us to talk about, feel free. We will put them on our podcast. Jesus. And then our website is halfhaunted.com. So once the episode comes out on Apple and Spotify, I'll put it on our website. For those of you that don't use Apple or Spotify, you can still listen to it on my website for free. Yeah. But I highly encourage you following us because we are funny. And our next episode is going to be all about Arizona and the haunted places Raji and I have been to. So it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to that episode.
Yes, and I hope you all can hear me a little bit better because now I have a microphone. Thank you, Candy.
Yes, and you sound wonderful.
You can hear me much better. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's not.
This is my note voice.
Hopefully, they don't catch any EVPs like the last time.
I don't know. And that's the thing. You should have the. Do you remember the time and seconds of our first podcast where you can have people who have listened and go, what did they think that sound was?
Some of my friends said that it sounds different. They didn't say it sounded like me or you. I had my stepdad listen to it, and he's like, "That doesn't sound like you or Raji." I said, "No, it sounded like siempre to me, which means always, I think, or never, one of those in Spanish." And I'm like, So with it was around 23 minutes and 39 seconds, give or take a few seconds. I start asking you about San Carlos. I said, tell us about San Carlos Hotel. And there's a small pause, and then you hear the voice. So in the first episode, if you want to go back and try to listen to it, that'd be great. But it was weird. So my dad's like, well, if it comes out in this episode, then we have a problem because it's on my end, not your end. So I'm not scared, but it's an interesting catch. But
yeah, especially for a first one.
Yeah, and then it's getting better. I mean, this is my first time doing the second episode, so I appreciate all good criticism, feedback, good feedback. So any feedback's good feedback to me. So thank you so much, Raji, for co-hosting.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And everybody, stay half haunted. Ooh. And scene. Okay. All right. So we can still talk. We're still recording, but whatever. But yeah, so the next one is I already have notes. I haven't got them on my little notepad yet, but
Yeah.
we're gonna be talking about, I have San Carlos Hotel in detail, not just, we can talk about that again. Jerome Hotel, talk about that. Because all these places have been on the ghost shows too. Yeah. Tombstone, especially the Birdcage Theater I went to. Lady went with me, but yeah. And then the graveyard. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Australia Jail. And then we'll talk a little bit about socials. But I think
where is the Australia Jail at?
It's by Tent City. You know where Tent City is? They're all right there.
Oh, okay, right around the Durango Curve area.
Yeah, Durango Jail,
okay.
Tower Jail, Australia, and Tent City. They're all right there.
Okay.
But yeah, that jail is on the top. They said it's one of the most haunted jails. It's Australia Jail.
Didn't know that.
I don't know. It was all right, but but yeah, that's what our next episode. I already have some notes going on that. Okay. Good ones too. And then if you have any ideas, I know you've been to sociables and you've been to the San Carlos Hotel, and